On January 6, 2026, a landmark astrological event occurs, carrying the consequence of circumstances from 2022 and laying new trends for 4 years ahead. On this day, a conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the sign of Capricorn. Their meeting takes place under the light of the fixed star Vega, which is the patroness of higher power, but only that power which does good deeds. Vega can both elevate to the throne and cast down from Olympus, plunging into the abyss of oblivion. Let's talk about how this conjunction of the Sun and Venus will influence all of us, what echoes it will bring us, what new routes will open before us, and what it will demand from us. And also, of course, we will talk separately for each zodiac sign. In which area of life can one expect the influence and echoes of this conjunction? The conjunction of the Sun and Venus in Capricorn occurs every 4 years, plus or minus a few days, and shows us key points of the storyline that is connected with 3 main directions. The first direction is love and relationships. The second direction is money and property. And the third direction is beauty and external physical form. What particular plot does the cycle of Capricorn, Sun, and Venus concern in your life? This will be shown by the dates of previous contacts of the Sun and Venus in the sign of Capricorn. These are the dates you see on the screen now. Try to remember what themes were most relevant for you at that time. What did you want? Since Venus symbolizes desire. What deficiency did you encounter at that time? What choices did you make? What decisions did you take? What exactly did it concern? Did it concern the theme of love, relationships, or the theme of finances, income, work, or some major purchases? Or did it concern the desire to improve one's physical condition? This is a theme that becomes more relevant for you than at other times, every 4 years. Of course, most of all, the events, decisions, choices, reflections of the present period will be connected with the past conjunction of the Sun and Venus, which occurred in January of the fateful year 2022. Then, in January 2022, Venus at the moment of conjunction with the Sun was retrograde, and we were reviewing our feelings, reviewing the sphere of our relationships. We were reviewing the entire system of our values. We were reviewing issues of receiving income, investing, issues of organizing our budget, and also issues of attitude towards ourselves. In January 2022, there was a conditional new moon phase of Venus. We made decisions, built plans, introduced something new into our life, into our affairs. And now, at the moment of this conjunction, a conditional Venusian full moon occurs, when we receive the results of those decisions, those choices that we made then. Now is the moment of culmination of the Venusian cycle in Capricorn, and we receive the consequence of our decisions and choices. And again, we are changing something, adjusting, and laying trends for 4 years ahead until January 2028. What is this cycle for you? How is it felt? How to track it at the level of our thoughts and questions that we ask ourselves. How to track the influence of precisely this storyline. How exactly, through what events, is this cycle woven into our earthly affairs? The first theme that Venus touches is, of course, love. Therefore, the questions we can ask ourselves now are related to whom we love, and what we love, and how we manifest our love. This theme can be divided into the following points. The first point is self-love. Venus, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus, occurs in the sign of Capricorn, and this is the domicile of Saturn, the domicile of strict and clear forms, moreover long-term forms. After all, Saturn is the lord of time. That is now, according to this cycle of Venus in Capricorn, we can ask ourselves the question, am I in good physical shape at this period of time? This does not mean that we all, like clones, should look the same in the image and likeness of some ideal. No, we ourselves know perfectly well whether we are in good shape now or not, considering our, so to speak, structural features, considering our age and our state of health. If we understand that we do not feel in good shape now, then we ask ourselves what exactly we can do to improve both our appearance and our energetic physical condition. And according to Venus in Capricorn, this is about long-term programs for improving and maintaining oneself in good physical shape. This is about programs designed for a long time. This is, for example, like taking vitamins, dietary supplements, adjusting one's nutrition, taking collagen, protein, or playing sports. According to the cycle of Venus in Capricorn, This is everything that is done regularly, for a long time, and systematically. Remember the past conjunction dates that we listed. Remember, did you want to improve your physical shape then? And considering that this conjunction again occurs in the sign of Capricorn, in the domicile of Saturn, and Saturn at the level of our physical body symbolizes bones, spine, joints, and also teeth, then this could also concern themes of improving the condition precisely in these directions. The second point of self-love is the ability, figuratively speaking, to know one's worth. Not to rush from one image to another, from one extreme to another, but to know who I really am and to value my true self. Again, whether you value yourself or not is checked very simply. What we invest our money and time in is our true value, and what we lack neither time nor money for is not our true value at this period of time, and it is sad if it is about ourselves. The third aspect of love is, of course, about the sphere of relationships, and everything that happens in Capricorn is about the eternal, about what has stood the test of time. This is about feelings in which we are confident. This is about relationships built on the principle of our choice, our decision, when we manifest love through actions, when the flame that united our hearts turns into a tamed fire. And here there can be options, which ones exactly? Venus symbolizes love and relationships with people with whom we have a heart connection. These are, first of all, 3 categories of people. These are our parents, children, and our life partner. Saturn, which is the ruler of this Venusian cycle, symbolizes age and responsibility. That is, this Venusian cycle is about the influence of responsibility on relationships. For example, like the influence of responsibility for parents on relationships with a life partner, the influence of parents' opinions on relationships with a partner. And the variations here can be different. For example, when one needs to take care of parents more than before and, accordingly, devote less time to one's family, one's partner, or significant expenses are needed for parents, which affects our common budget and our relationships in the end. The essence is that we find ourselves between the interests of 2 people whom we love and before whom we have responsibility. Situations related to these people put us before a difficult choice, or it may be about situations related to children. For example, a child is born. This changes a lot in a couple, especially if this child is the first. This is, in essence, a serious test of relationships for responsibility. Or it may be about relationships with children from a previous marriage of yours or your partner, or about some expenses related to these children. That is, this is a time of such difficult choices, difficult decisions that we make, being between 2 people whom we love and before whom we have responsibility. But now the questions of this cycle of Venus in Capricorn are emotionally much easier than those that were before us in January 2022, since now the conjunction of these planets occurs at 16 degrees of the sign of Capricorn under the influence of the fixed star Vega. And in 2022, their conjunction occurred in the destructive 19th degree of Capricorn, in the degree of the fallen angel, whose heart does not know love. Then the choices that stood before us could be much harsher, colder than those that are now. Now the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs within the orb of influence of the fixed star Vega, which is the patroness of talents. Talents are not only about art. This shows that now our abilities, whatever they may be, receive recognition. But also Vega symbolizes karmic programs of the family, symbolizes the karma of the family. Therefore, often in such periods we make choices that are connected precisely with the theme of family and kinship relationships or family property. This may also concern issues related to real estate and place of residence. At the same time, we remember that the ruler of this conjunction is the planet Saturn, the lord of responsibility. Therefore, the decisions that we will make and the choices that we will make. If their essence is in choosing between feelings and responsibility, then one must choose the latter. The second theme of Venus is, of course, money, resources, savings, and pleasure of a material and property nature. The period when Venus is in Capricorn is a time when investments are good, only those that do not imply a quick result. Remember past periods of conjunction of Venus and the Sun in Capricorn, the periods that we listed. Did you not invest money then in projects that became, so to speak, frozen? This is an investment in projects that become long-term construction, when we paid for something but cannot receive either the goods or the money back, or bought something with joint money and now cannot divide it, especially, again, in quick projects. Now it is not worth investing one's money, since these projects may turn out to be frozen. This is a time of frozen assets. This day, January 6, is when one needs to set financial goals. Goals both as a level of income that I want to have, and as specific material, property items that I want to possess. The energy of this conjunction will help achieve results, but it must be something, so to speak, worthwhile. For example, real estate, land, precious stones, status items of good quality, or interior items that will serve for a long time. This is also, for instance, the start of house construction or the beginning of renovation. This is a time when we change our financial strategies. Venus in Capricorn symbolizes restraint, a rational approach, symbolizes purposefulness, responsibility, and the ability to keep one's word. The image of Venus in Capricorn is such a business lady who knows what she wants, who at the same time looks excellent, and her word, her promise can be trusted. This is such an iron lady. And the third theme of Venus in Capricorn is the theme of values in the broad sense of the word. This is a time when we determine what is most important for us now, what is on the pedestal in our system of values. Remember past periods. How did your system of values change? The general characteristic of this period, the period of the conjunction of the Sun and Venus, is a time when we have a desire to improve one or several spheres of our life according to the function of Venus. That is, it is the theme of love, relationships, money, property, and the external form of one's physical condition. And a special note for those who in this year 2026 turn 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, or 72 years old. That is, an age that is a multiple of 8. For you, this year is a year of special patronage of Venus. This is your Venusian year, and she will certainly help you find your path, so to speak, of Venusian well-being in 3 main directions. These are love, money, and beauty. It is important, if possible, to celebrate both the new year and also your birthday this year brightly, or give yourself a very good and valuable gift. Venus brings repeating events every 8 years, and this matters for everyone, not only for those whose age in 2026 is a multiple of 8. Therefore, it is interesting to track one's 8-year cycles of desires and choices. Now let's talk separately for each of the zodiac signs. In which area of life will this cycle of Venus in Capricorn manifest itself? Aries, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 10th astrofield. This is the sector of status, status in work, career, your standard of living, status in personal life. In a few days, a new Sun-Mars cycle, a cycle of actions, begins in this sector of your horoscope. And now the Venusian influence lies in determining the choice, the decision of the heart. This is a time of testing relationships with responsibility. This is a time of a triangle, which includes mother, partner, and children. And the essence of the question that may arise now is how to settle relationships within this triangle, where each has their own needs, where we have responsibility before each. And it is good if the needs of all these people do not contradict each other. Now is a time when you can make decisions regarding marriage or regarding the status of your relationships. Also, desires may now arise related to possessing some material things, and expensive ones at that, for example, expensive watches, jewelry, or the issue of acquiring real estate. Also, questions that may arise now may concern power. The question, how to find a golden mean in order not to feel a constant sense of internal contradiction and opposition. After all, we obey someone, and someone depends on us. How to choose the right strategy in relationships, to be stricter or more loyal. Variations of all this, of course, can be different in practice. For example, in matters of relationships, family, parents may be against my relationships with a certain partner, or they may interfere in our relationships. Or the family may constantly ask when the wedding will be. But the question is, do I want this? Also, this is a time when the partner's affairs may affect your personal plans and your personal status. And the main essence of this Venusian desire is that we want to establish ourselves in the world through successes in our career, through a high material and social level, through a high standard of living for our family, or through a partner, through a successful marriage. Taurus, in your horoscope, this conjunction occurs in the ninth astrofield. This is the house that symbolizes our boundaries in different senses of the word. And the question that may arise for you now is whether you allow yourself to desire something that is beyond your usual life boundaries. Doesn't a harmful thought arise from time to time that I cannot want this? This is not for me. I am not allowed this. Venusian cycles almost always touch on the theme of relationships. And according to the ninth house, these are relationships with our grandchildren, relationships with the life partner of our adult child. These are also relationships with people who are far from us, far either territorially or we have a big age difference. Also, questions that will be raised now may concern a trip as a journey or as a move. You may have a feeling that you want to go somewhere or, in general, figuratively speaking, run away from something. Also, here the theme of frozen assets, frozen by time or distance, may be raised. There may be some rules that prevent you from receiving what you have already invested your money in. And also now you may ask yourself, is it worth investing money in your education, professional education, or attending some courses, master classes, or learning some specific skills? Is it worth investing in this? Also now, a certain adult, businesslike, and strict woman may influence your plans and decisions. Also now you may review your relationships with foreigners and people who are visitors. And the main question you may be solving now is whether you live in expectation of something, some moment or event, or whether you act here and now. Also at this time, an issue related to the acquisition of something that is territorially far away, which you have paid for and are awaiting its delivery, may be resolved. Or at this time, you may expect to receive a payment from afar. At this time, the principles of your mutual settlements with clients or employers may also change. And the main essence of the Venusian desire in the ninth house is that I want expansion. I want new horizons and prospects. Gemini, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the eighth astrofield. This is the field of crisis. Crisis as a result of joint actions or partnership relations. Crisis as a result of trust. But do not be frightened by the word crisis. It is, in essence, an inevitable stage of any relationships, especially relationships of a financial, property, and material nature. Here, Venus as a symbol of relationships precisely symbolizes relationships of a financial and property nature, symbolizes common and joint property. These are financial and property relationships with parents, with a life partner, and also with our business associates. And the themes that may be raised here are related to the theme of trust and reliability of your key partners. And also, this is the theme of financial certainty. Another sphere that will concern this cycle of Venus in Capricorn for you is the sacred theme of new life. That is, these are issues related to children and our care for their material well-being. And of course, the plots that may develop now will in one way or another echo events, tasks, goals, and desires of a financial and material property nature that originated 4 years ago, 8 or 12. That is, in those periods, the dates that we discussed. This may concern a loan, mortgage, some major financial investments. Now this theme may either close or give results. That is, now you will see how correct and profitable those decisions were. The main themes of discussion or some contradictions, conflicts that may arise now, all this will in one way or another concern the theme of finances, joint budget, joint property, or joint investments. Also, all derivatives of these questions, for example, the unpredictability of the level of income and expenses of your partner, when it is difficult to plan the budget and some joint purchases. These are also issues that may concern alimony, fines, taxes, that is, any form of mutual settlements. The main Venusian theme here is the theme of the results of relationships, results in different planes. That is, you may ask yourself, how have I changed? How am I changing under the influence of these relationships? You may ask yourself, was I better before these relationships or within them? Moreover, we may be talking about relationships of different natures, both relationships with an employer and relationships with a life partner. Venus here will give birth to a desire to get more, to have more, but also considering the position of Jupiter, transiting Jupiter, in your second house of the horoscope. Here, along with the desire to have more, there will also be a desire to give less. That is, there will be a feeling that I need it more, I need to take more. This is a time when you may raise the question that you need to raise your salary level or review the issue of commission remuneration that you receive for your services. For example, intermediary services. This is, of course, an example. That is, the main theme here is that I want to get more, whatever it concerns. Cancer, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 7th astrofield. This is the sector of partnership relations. Partnership relations, both in personal life and in friendship and in business. And it would seem everything is simple here. There will be some events related to your partnership relations, but here everything is much deeper. Here, behind the external layer, behind the event level of relationships, lies a whole layer of questions. Questions that concern not partners as separate individuals, but you yourselves. After all, other people and our relationships with them are a mirror of ourselves, our strengths and weaknesses. Other people and our relationships with them show us how much we trust ourselves, whether we know how to trust, and whether we are such people who are trusted. It is other people and our relationships with them that reflect our true assessment of ourselves in different roles. They reflect our ability to love both ourselves and other people. A feature of your zodiac sign, not only now but in general, is that you know how to love and maintain good relationships with people who are quite cold, closed, and unsociable. For other people, representatives of other zodiac signs, this is difficult, but you know how to do it. Now this is a very good time for you to conduct, so to speak, an audit of your relationships. If there is an aspect in your relationships on which you often stumble, then it makes sense to talk about it. Explain to partners the entire scale of this inconvenience for you. Or if in the past dates of the cycle you made some decision like, endure it, it will grow dear. If then you decided that something could be done in the future with some fundamental, in your opinion, shortcoming of the partner or relationships, either get used to it or somehow influence it, then now this inconvenience, this uncomfortable moment in the qualities and characteristics of the partner or relationships may reach a critical point. And here we again find ourselves at a crossroads where we need to make an internal decision, decide for ourselves whether we go further hand in hand with this partner or not. And this decision may concern this internal decision. It does not necessarily come to the event level now. This decision is inside us. This decision may concern both the sphere of personal life and friendly and business communication. Leo, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 6th astrofield. This is the house of service, the house of living conditions, conditions of our work, and also the house of a healthy lifestyle. Venus symbolizes beauty, harmony, and comfort. Therefore, now you may think about what exactly you can improve in your life. This can be something large-scale, like moving, renovation, new furniture in your home, or a new job that allows you to work in more comfortable conditions, with a better team, with better relationships within your team, or with a higher level of payment for your labor. Also, these can be some less global decisions. For example, if you feel that something in your home does not please you, something is inconvenient, something causes discomfort, you may think about changing dishes or textiles, or, for instance, the mattress you sleep on to have more comfort. Here the central thought, idea is to make it better, to make it more comfortable, more beautiful, so that it is more convenient for you to live on a daily basis. That is, we are talking about improving the space in which you are on a daily basis, the space of your home and the conditions of your work. You can engage in fixing something, repairing something, removing something, or establishing some processes. The 6th house is the house of service, and now you may think about how heavy or light this burden is for you. The burden of caring for home, family, children, partner, including yourself. Here the theme of manifesting love through service, through practical care, both for oneself and for others, will be raised. If indeed many issues have accumulated here, unresolved issues, for example, in everyday life, then you will want to solve all these issues radically, drastically, for instance, by starting a renovation or moving. Venus is also, first of all, about relationships. And relationships, according to the 6th house, are relationships with our colleagues, clients, with our employer, with people with whom we somehow contact at work. These are relationships with our trainer or our treating doctor, my sir, relationships with people with whom we contact, to whom we turn periodically to solve some tasks. This is, for example, our manicurist or hairdresser. Also, if the theme of an office romance is relevant for you, then here you may make some decisions, especially if this romance has lasted for many years. If you are in search of a relationship, then here you may solve such a global question. I want to meet a partner for what? For, so to speak, the soul, or for the partner to help me close some of my basic needs, my own problems. You may also think about what kind of partner you want to meet. They should be of your social level plus or minus. They should be above your level or below. You may think about what you actually want from relationships and a partner. You may ask yourself, do you want to live together with someone at all? Or from relationships, do you expect only pleasant moments, not a test of your feelings by everyday life and routine? If you are in a relationship, in a couple, and live together, then this is a time when you will think about how convenient the distribution of some domestic family questions is for you. And you may raise a conversation that it is necessary to somehow redistribute the domestic household load. Virgo, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 5th astrofield. This is the house of joy, emotions, feelings, falling in love, creativity, and our children. Venus is about relationships. And in this case, we are talking about relationships with loved ones. This is, of course, first and foremost our children. This is our partner. These are our beloved friends. These are people with whom we may not have such strong and close relationships, but people with whom we feel good. That is, we may be talking about relationships not only with close friends, but also with acquaintances with whom you perhaps do not meet often, but in relationships with whom you feel at ease, you feel celebration and optimism, with whom you meet when you want a celebration, when you want to have fun and not solve some complex global issues. And now for you, this is a moment of reassessing such relationships. You may ask yourself, do I still have as much fun with these people as once? Are we still on the same wavelength or not anymore? And over these years that have changed many and changed much in our world, over these years, these people have not deceived, not betrayed, and monetary issues have not spoiled our relationships. That is, now you can conduct an audit of such relationships. And of course, this cycle of Venus in Capricorn will touch your relationships with children. For some, this will become a period of having a child. Or now you may think that you are already ready for this. If you have children, then this is a time that will bring a reformatting of your relationships. Here one needs to understand that not only do you teach your child some life truths and rules, but you also need to learn from your child. For example, the ability to rejoice, to be curious about life, not to consider this life as a series of constantly changing task problems, but as a certain conditional bag of a good wizard. And it is precisely through communication with your child that you need to remember that inside every adult there is an inner child, and it must not be forgotten to indulge. Also, the 5th house symbolizes our choice of our own profession. And now you may ask yourself how satisfied you are with that choice of profession that you made once, especially if that choice was made 4 years ago, 8 or 12. And of course, Venus is about love. And now you may ask yourself, what is the place of love in my system of values? And of course, if you are in search of a relationship, then now this conjunction of the Sun and Venus will help you find a chosen one, a chosen woman, or make an important decision in personal life. Libra, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 4th astrofield. This is one of the fundamental houses of our horoscope. It symbolizes our home, our place of residence, symbolizes our family scenarios. This is the point of our origin. It is a symbol of the parental family, our ancestral roots, ancestral connections. And also this house symbolizes our, so to speak, basic settings with which we are born. Therefore, this cycle of Venus in Capricorn will primarily touch upon themes of comfort level. Comfort both physical and emotional in the place where you live. Here there will be a desire to improve your home space through moving, renovation, through acquiring some things or furniture for your home, through resolving issues related to real estate. Venus is also always about relationships, and in this case, these are relationships with parents, with mother first and foremost. These are relationships with our life partner, with our relatives, and of course, with our children. And this cycle of Venus in Capricorn for your sign is about testing with responsibility in family matters, and, so to speak, family property matters. This is a time of testing the strength of family relationships through solving some important and responsible tasks. For example, when we are building a house or a dacha or doing a major renovation in our home, this is a serious load on the entire family. This takes our time. And in some ways, we deny ourselves materially because we need resources for this process. Or again, as an example, when we need to take care of our parents, some financial investments in their life are needed. For example, we need to improve their living conditions or pay for a trip to a sanatorium. This is a serious financial burden on the family, and here it may not be easy to make such a decision, because any financial decision of this nature implies a choice. We can pay for something for our family or help our parents. That is, it is such a compromised decision. And the hint about which particular plot will be discussed here, of course, lies in the dates of the beginning of previous cycles, in those dates we talked about. This is a plot that, in one form or another, repeats every 4 years. Here, the status in personal relationships may also change under the influence of external factors. For example, if you have lived together as one family for a long time but have not entered into an official marriage, then now, under the influence of some external factors, you may understand that at this minute it is more beneficial to formalize the marriage officially. For instance, to get a mortgage on more favorable terms, or because a child will soon be born, and it is better for the parents to be married. Also now, you can assess how much your parents influence your personal family life. Not the parents themselves, but parental attitudes. That is, in essence, this is a time of testing, an audit of how I manifest love in the family and how responsibility influences the nature of family relationships. And also, this is a time when you will build new long-term family plans. Scorpio, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 3rd astrofield. This is the house of our intellectual, mental contact with other people. This is the house of our words and our logic. And here, a test takes place on how well you can build constructive dialogue, especially if it concerns some conflict points. How constructive is the conflict itself? Do you know how to negotiate? Do you find compromises with other people? Or do conflicts more often occur simply in the form of expressing your dissatisfaction, but do not lead to any results and agreements? The 3rd house is also the house of our written speech. And here you may correspond with some people and clarify issues that are quite tense. All this does not speak of any problems. It shows that here a test is happening on how constructively you can express your demands, your dissatisfaction, and bring to a logical conclusion some tense moments in communication with different people. Here there may be, figuratively speaking, provocations out of nowhere, when claims are made against you like you said something wrong, misunderstood something, did something wrong, or did something at the wrong time. All this precisely creates these settings that are necessary to solve the main question here. How well do you know how to negotiate and conduct constructive dialogues of a tense and conflictual nature? The 3rd house is the house of our informational contact with the people around us. And now is a time when you can reevaluate your circle of communication, assess who you communicate with and on what topics. How much do you generally enjoy communicating with some people from your circle of communication? Or do you listen to some of them forcedly, although you understand that they are simply stealing your time? Venus is about relationships. And in this case, according to the 3rd house, these are relationships with colleagues, with your neighbors, relationships with a brother, sister, relationships with the life partners of our brother or sister. And here the task is to find an effective form of interaction between you. Remember what events occurred in your life during the periods of past contacts of Venus with the sign of Capricorn, in those dates we discussed, which particular theme surfaces here every 4 years, albeit in different settings. Also, the 3rd house is the house of roads, and it also symbolizes means of transport. Therefore, now for some, this cycle will play out as a decision to change a car or a decision that will affect the roads you take. If not daily, then regularly. These can also be organizational questions. For example, when you regularly take someone somewhere or drive someone. Something may change here. And also, decisions that you may make now can influence your work. For example, if you feel that it is difficult to work with this team or communicate with these clients, You may make a decision to change jobs or transition to another position that implies a different circle of duties. Sagittarius, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the second astrofield. This is the sector of our resources. And now you may ask yourself how satisfied you are with the state of your resources, material resources, property resources, as well as resources as your energetic and physical state. How satisfied are you with your physical shape? What is the level of your anxiety regarding the financial state of affairs, both current and prospects for the future? The central line of Venus in the second house sounds like a desire to have more, better, more beautiful, both in relation to material objects that are in my field of vision and in relation to myself. The second house is also the sector of our nutrition and our metabolism. And here there may also be a question of how to organize your nutrition so that it is both tasty and healthy. Thoughts now can greatly influence appetite, and we may be inclined to eat away some worries. Venus is also about beauty. And when our meal is arranged aesthetically, we are more fully satiated. Our beauty, our health, our physical shape are directly connected to what we eat and how we do it. Also, the second house is the house of vision, and someone may think about whether it is worth checking their eyesight. Maybe one needs to wear contact lenses or glasses, and those who already use them may replace glasses with new ones, more stylish or more comfortable. The second house is also the house of manual labor, and Venus symbolizes creation, symbolizes beauty. Therefore, you will think about wanting to create something beautiful, do something with your own hands, or organize your business based on your personal skill. Venus is, of course, also about relationships. And here we are talking about relationships with people with whom you are financially, economically connected, with people who influence your budget. This is, of course, first and foremost family, and also work relationships, relationships with clients and employers. And here the central question, the essence of the question you may ask yourself now, sounds quite rough, but still it sounds like this. Am I a provider or a consumer of resources in these relationships? Do these relationships enhance my resource state, both in material terms and energetic? Do they enhance my energetic state or weaken it? And based on these conclusions, you can make a number of decisions. For example, if you feel that work takes away a lot of your personal resource and time and energy, and the return is not so great, then you can make a decision that you need to change jobs or somehow differently negotiate the financial side of your interaction with your employer or clients. And of course, Venus in the second house is about our desires, material, tangible desires. Therefore, now you can set new financial goals for yourself, like a desire to acquire certain things. Remember what questions you solved then in the periods of past contacts of Venus with the sign of Capricorn in the periods of those dates we listed. Then it will be clearer what exactly the plot is, what storyline is continuing now. Capricorn, this conjunction occurs in your own sign, in the first house of your horoscope. For you, January 2026 is generally a unique time. A time of the birth of your new personality, a time of conscious birth of yourself in a new image, a new image. This is a time of forming a new way of self-realization and self-presentation. Venus is always about relationships, and here the emphasis is on the attitude towards yourself. How much do you value yourself, love yourself? How much do you feel self-sufficient and independent of the opinions of other people? Now you can ask yourself questions. What do you do for yourself? What exactly do you do? Because you want this and you need it. And what in your affairs, in your life, do you do not because you want it or consider it necessary for yourself, but do it because you want to please other people, to get a positive assessment from them? Now it is worth thinking about what you do not do, although you want it, and understand that for you it would be correct, it would be needed by you. But still, you do not do it because you believe that this step on your part could disrupt the nature of your social connections with other people. Remember that now is only your time, a time of conscious birth of yourself. Therefore, now your ideas about yourself, your ideas about what love is and what the true value of money is, depend on the events of the next 4 years. After all, the next conjunction of the Sun and Venus in your sign will only be in 4 years. Therefore, try now, whatever it concerns, to bet on yourself. Aquarius, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 12th house. This is the house of results, the house of completion of a certain stage, the house of preparing yourself and your desires for the beginning of a new cycle of activity. For Venus, this is the house of immersion in oneself, in one's internal sensations, the house of immersion in the emotional assessment of one's past. At the event level, this conjunction can influence processes that are connected with, so to speak, frozen assets, with your investments, contributions with your passive income, income from real estate including. Here, results of some relationships, both personal and business, may also be summed up. This is a time when you can plan to solve some issues remotely, distantly. Also, the 12th house is the house of nostalgia and sadness. And now you may be inclined to think about the past, compare expectations and reality. You may remember what you dreamed of 4 years ago or 8 years ago. Remember what wishes you made then, on New Year's Eve. You may now think about people whose expectations you did not meet. You may try to justify in your own eyes the action of some person who acted long ago, objectively, badly, and unfairly. You may not think about forgiving this person at the event level, but inside yourself, you may try to find a reason why this person acted exactly that way. That is, you may try to justify this action in your own eyes. But remember that not every person needs forgiveness, and especially you should not forgive those who do not even ask for it. Also, since Venus symbolizes relationships, the 12th house is the house of secrets, so here a question connected with secret relationships may be resolved, especially those that last a long time. You can assess their expediency. These may also be long-distance relationships. You can assess how expedient it is to maintain such relationships. Also, the 12th house is the house of memories, so now you may recall those bright feelings that once were between you and a person with whom, at this minute, you are no longer connected by a relationship. Now for you is a time of internal work, a time of preparation for the beginning of a new cycle of activity, which for your sign will begin at the moment of the solar eclipse, which will occur on February 17 in your own sign, in the first house of your horoscope. And on the eve of such a first eclipse in many years, we usually sum up results, not only in the material plane, but also in the plane of emotional experience. Also now, you may resolve some financial issues that are connected with affairs of the past. Pisces, in your horoscope, the conjunction of the Sun and Venus occurs in the 11th astrofield. This is the house of society, the house of social success. The conjunction of the Sun and Venus here gives birth to a need to be liked by other people, a need to receive love and attention from society, a need to be interesting and stand out among others. But here it is not so simple, because the 11th house is the house of society, the house of a collective of people. People, each of whom has their own talents and their own charisma. Here it is not so easy to stand out with something. Here one cannot doubt oneself. Here one cannot think, what can I interest other people with? Is there something special in me? One cannot be shy of oneself. If, or rather when, you believe in yourself and in your individuality, in your charisma, then other people will believe in you too. Another theme that will concern this conjunction is the theme of society's influence on you. Yes, usually we are inclined to begin doubting our convictions, our values, our tastes and preferences under the influence of the majority's opinion. But then, if we deviate from our own line of convictions, we still return to ourselves. Therefore, now we as if evaluate our previous experience. If once we succumb to the opinion of the majority, what did it bring us? Was it a plus for us or still a minus? Venus is also always about relationships. This is, first and foremost, relationships with collectives of people. This is the relationship within your social group. This is an assessment of your role in the collective and also an assessment of the level of significance of other people's opinions about you. Also, the 11th house is the house of lovers and mistresses. Therefore, now is a time when you can review your love relationships of such, so to speak, unusual format. And think about the fact that maybe it is time to change the status of these relationships. Perhaps it is worth ceasing to hide your sympathies. Also, the 11th house is the house of other people's children. That is, children who feature in our life but are not our own. Therefore, here your relationships with godchildren, nieces, nephews, children of your close friends may also be reviewed. And also, here there may be changes in the relationship between you and your brother or sister. The 11th house is also the house of results. Therefore, now you can as if calculate the results of some relationships, results in different planes. And since the 11th house is the house of our dreams, you can assess relationships that take place in your life precisely in this plane. How much do they allow you to realize your dreams in reality? These relationships, in which you are involved, do they give you wings on your back, or, on the contrary, clip them? And of course, the 11th house is the house of the internet. Therefore, if your plans include promoting yourself through the internet, through some special platforms, whatever it may be, whether posting your resume, searching for clients for work, or self-presentation, so to speak, on the market of grooms and brides, or some internet projects of a working, intellectual nature. For all of this, now is an excellent time.